S.L. Kanthan is a geopolitical analyst, writer, and independent journalist, and we're lucky he joins us now on the mother of all talk shows. Mr. Kanthan, thank you for joining us. We want to talk principally about Turkey. The CIA have lost the Turkish elections. Is that a reasonable summary?
Absolutely. The biggest loser in this election was not the opponent, Mr. Kılıçdaroğlu, but the U.S. and the CIA. And as you pointed out, the U.S. has been trying to derail the Erdogan's candidacy for a long time. And back in 2016, the CIA tried to stage a coup. And what happened was actually, or at least the urban legend is Russia's Putin made a phone call to Erdogan, and he warned him about the coup. So for the last 7 years, the U.S. has been bullying Turkey with all kinds of sanctions and threats and trying to force Turkey's foreign policy. And then they made a really big faux pas so during this election, where they brazenly tried to manipulate the election. If you looked at all the Western media, they all constantly attacked Erdogan, and they totally glorified the opponent, Mr. Kılıçdaroğlu. And you had the CIA front organizations like the National Endowment of Democracy. They met with the opponent, and they had a lot of social media campaign for him. And more importantly, the U.S. started like an economic warfare against Turkey for the last 2 years. So basically, Wall Street, it started to attack the lira, Turkey's currency. And it lost over 50% in the last 2 years. And that caused very high inflation and tremendous suffering for the Turkish people. But they stood by Erdogan because they wanted stability. And I think they kind of understood the bigger picture as to what's happening. And the most shocking thing is that one of the ministers, Soylu, he's like Turkey's the interior minister, and he said something really shocking. He said, well, if somebody is going to propose a pro-US foreign policy, that person would be considered a traitor. So I think that we're going to see a tectonic shift in Turkey's foreign policy in the next 5 years. Turkey is going to join.
You can see then why the CIA and its front organizations are nervous. The stakes are high, after all. Turkey is a member of NATO. It is a candidate member of the European Union, though it will be a candidate forever and never be allowed in, of course.
Yeah.
But there are millions of Turkish people, most of whom support Erdogan, by the way. The votes of the diaspora are being counted now, and Erdogan has won even bigger amongst them than inside Turkey itself. So Turkey is a problem for them. But not only for them, sir. There will be not much rejoicing, for example, amongst the Syrian people tonight, Erdogan's great victory, because Erdogan played a very, very bad role in the Syrian conflict for a long time, openly in alliance with the alphabet soup of Islamist extremism that became this terrorist monster in Syria. So this tectonic shift that you describe, will that also imply a different role for Turkey in Syria?
Absolutely. I think that you'll see that within the next month or two, I think Turkey will seek rapprochement with Syria. And we've seen that with Saudi Arabia and the UAE. They all supported the jihadists during the proxy war, that started in 2011. But I think they all have now realized that there's no point in this, the perpetual wars, and being a victim of the U.S., the divide and rule. So we've seen how China and Russia are bringing all these parties together, right? So China brokered the deal between Saudi Arabia and Iran, which would have been completely unthinkable like 1 year ago. And Russia is bringing Turkey and Syria together. And so I think the future is going to be, focus on the infrastructure, peace, trade, and the development. But Turkey is not going to gain anything by being allied with the U.S., which has no positive plans, And you talk to China, then China will say, well, hey, Turkey, we can bring a lot of manufacturing plants into your country, and you can be a part of the Belt and Road Initiative, and we'll have the trains coming all the way from China to Turkey and beyond, and they have plenty of futuristic ideas, right? And for Russia, it can bring in more pipelines into Turkey. So that is the constructive and the positive plans. And if Turkey is able to join BRICS, and if BRICS has its own, the currency, that will solve Turkey's economic problems. Because right now, Turkey is caught in the debt trap of the US dollars, right? And that's why the central bankers of Turkey, who I think should all be fired, they wasted with $250 billion over the last 3 years trying to prop up the currency, right? But Turkey will not have such problems if it has the alliance with the East, the BRICS world.
Because I know you're a Renaissance man, I don't hesitate to make a slight turn in the conversation. We all wondered why Joe Biden left $88 billion worth of military hardware in Afghanistan in the hands of the Taliban that America and Britain and others had spent 20 years fighting. Is the answer playing out on the border with Iran right now? Because that American military hardware is being used to kill Iranian border guards, and the section of the Taliban has announced they're going to conquer Tehran. That would suit Joe Biden and co. quite well, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. You really hit the nail on the head. Because, you know, the US is the empire of chaos, right? And all they want to do is disrupt. So they want to disrupt China's Belt and Road Initiative, and they want to disrupt the trade between China and the Middle East. So, like you said, this would be the perfect opportunity for the U.S. to stir up some trouble, and then as we see, saw the coup in Pakistan. So now we might be able to connect the dots, right? So the military weapons, like in Afghanistan, and the coup in Pakistan may all be related. So the only hope is that with China and Russia, they seem to have a little bit more leverage with the Taliban. So that's the hope that they might be able to intervene and to calm down the temperature. But if not, it would be very bad news for that whole region. You know, just about 10 days ago, but China had this the Central Asia summit. And they brought in all these 5 Stan countries like. Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, and all of them. So, and that was the grand plan for the future, the integration. And now the wild card could be the Taliban, who could start to create more problems for everyone. So we would have to wait and see.
Well, we do live in the age of monsters, but a monster, a multi-headed monster of Joe Biden, the Taliban, and maybe one other would be the most ugly monster of them all. It's been a privilege finally meeting you, albeit on screen. S.L. Kanthan, thank you for joining us.